here's the latest from New York City. Judge Juan Marchand has issued an edict, and he's very upset with President Trump violating the gag order again. Fined him $1,000. This is now $10,000 in fines that Trump has accumulated since the start of this sham hush money trial. And the judge issued a statement. The judge said that if President Trump violates the gag order again, there will be incarceration on the table. Not that there could be, but he's implying that President Trump is going to go to jail. So if you're Donald J. Trump, what do you do today? Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd go right back out to the microphones and start criticizing somebody, start blasting somebody. And I'm telling you, the moment, and by the way, Marchand is like, well, I really don't want to have to throw the president, a former president, in jail. That's a bunch of hooey, ladies and gentlemen. Grade A hooey. That's exactly what these people want. They want to see the video of President Trump in the orange jumpsuit with the white Crocs walking down the hallway with the cells on either side. But I'm telling you this, folks, the moment those cells shut and clang and they lock the president up behind bars, that's the moment he wins in a landslide. Now, you can say what you want to about the polling data out there, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about it. But I will say this, at this time, and polls can change, but at this time, the Democrats are pooping their pants. Oh, by the way, speaking of pooping the pants, did you see the video over the weekend of Joe Biden? And I don't know if you've seen this video, and I would love to hear from our audience on this. I don't want this to be like Poopgate, but I'm very curious about this particular video. So Biden and the wife, the Mrs., Dr. Mrs. First Lady Jill Biden, the elder abuser, she and the husband were like walking across the lawn, and all of a sudden Biden stops, and there's a little bit of, he's squatting a little bit, and he's, it's almost as if that moment, when you pass gas and then something else happens, that's what it looks like. Everybody's talking about it. It's insane. But a lot of people are saying that that President Biden had an accident. And most of these people doing this are parents who say that their children did the exact same thing that Joe Biden did. Now, I don't know if Biden pooped his pants or not, but it sure did look like it. So anyway, back to President Trump. The Democrats collectively are pooping their pants because they know that this polling data is catastrophic. As a matter of fact, there's a new survey out there showing an overwhelming number of young blacks and Hispanics are now voting for Donald Trump. And by the way, did you see the president's reception at the Formula One race over the weekend? It was unbelievable. People are out there and they're chanting you. Well, we've got the audio. Cut 15. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And he was greeted like a triumphant general. And there were several beautiful young ladies, and they got to meet President Trump and say hello, and they were just so excited, so thrilled. America's young people have just had it with Joe Biden. They've had it with the Democrats. And it has nothing to do with the mean tweets. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with the economy. There's a headline from the Gateway Pundit: Bidenomics is killing the American dream of owning your own home. A new study finds it is now cheaper to rent than it is to buy a home in the country's 50 largest metro areas. It's now putting serious pressure on home builders and sales. Is this true? It is more cost-effective to rent a place to live than to own a home. This is according to Bankrate in a report that was published at the end of last month. While the cost of rent soared over the last few years, the cost of buying and owning a home has not only caught up to that rise in rent, but has eclipsed it as mortgage rates have begun rising and low home inventory have created higher prices. This is all blamed on Biden. 78% of Americans still believe that owning their own home is an integral part of the American dream, but 56% say their income prevents them from fulfilling that dream. 42% said home prices are too high. Huge. Bankrate analyzed 50 metro areas. The mortgage for a medium-priced home worth about $400,000 costs $2,700 a month, whereas rent only costs $1,979. If you're doing the math, that's a little over a 36% difference. In 21 of the metro areas, the cost of a monthly mortgage is 50% higher than renting. Young Americans see this. The Democrats are in for a look, because it's for the average American Democrat, all right? It's a young Democrat. It's not about Palestine, right? That is not even on their radar. They just want to be able to go out there and buy a house, and they're not able to do it. All right, let's go to Ray in Tennessee. WTJS, our great affiliate there. All right, Ray, what do you think Trump ought to do here? Should he clam up? Should he obey the gag order, or should he just keep talking?
I think Trump needs to go out, get himself an orange jumpsuit, and go and wear it to his rallies and say, "Here I am, come and get me, I'm ready."
Oh, wow, that would be presidential level taunting right there.
that would be his style, wouldn't it?
It would be. It's a good point. If he could maybe an orange suit, that with the same color, maybe the numbers on the pocket square.
Yeah, I mean, people would go crazy seeing that, and just imagine how that would trigger the left.
Well, it would do that, Ray, and I think you're right about that. Let me ask you this, though: they throw the president in jail. Do you think that that's going to hurt his reelection chances?
How are they going to throw him in jail? Are they going to? The Secret Service has to protect them. How they're going to make themselves for the Secret Service to stay in?
That is a fair question. The Secret Service has been working out a plan. This is a real possibility that he could go to jail. So the question is, what does that look like for the Secret Service? Ray, we'll have to wait and see. But that'll be a big issue. All right. Ray, appreciate the call. Ray says Trump ought to just show up at a rally, wear the orange jumpsuit, and say, "Come and get me. Come and get me." By the way, this is the story out of USA Today. Biden, 37%, Trump, 37%, as Hispanic, Black, and younger voters shift. This is a massive shift, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, this is all good for Donald Trump. By the way, 8% of young people now supporting RFK Jr. He's a nut job. Early on, I was getting all these messages from folks. Why don't you have on RFK Jr.? He's the next Donald Trump. In what world is that remotely even possible? Are you kidding me? Folks, don't go after the next shiny object they're dangling in front of you. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't realize what it means to be a conservative in this country. So they go running after this and running after that. All right, let's go to Cordova, Tennessee. Original Bill on the line. OG Bill, what's going on?
Hey, Todd, everything's dandy. How about you?
Good. What's on your mind, Bill?
I was listening to Mike Huckabee the other night, and you were talking about what Trump should do about these fines. First of all, I say Trump needs to be Trump, and just like they said before, just keep on doing what Trump does. But Huckabee said Trump needs to take $10,000. This was when the fines were $9,000 in $1 bills, set it on the bench in front of the judge, and tell him, "Here's my fine, and an extra 1,000 just for the next one or whatever, you know." And I just got the biggest kick out of that, and I think that's exactly what Trump should do. Kind of spit in the eye, so to speak.
I love it. Look, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. All right, Bill, appreciate that call. Let's go to North Carolina, WHKP, our great affiliate there. Robert, what's on your mind, Robert?
How are you today, Todd?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. What's on your mind, Robert?
Well, I was just thinking about Donald Trump. They put a gag order on him. He's running for president. Shouldn't he be allowed to speak? I mean, he's got constituents out there who love to hear him talk. So, you know, and I don't understand how they can gag order somebody who's running for president. You know, he's got to get out there and talk and put himself out there.
Well, this is true, and he is running for president, and you're right. He should have the opportunity to have his say, and if he feels like he's getting the short end of the stick, if he's getting run out of town, then I think the president deserves to be able to say what needs to be said.
I do too. Another thing, Todd, I think about the uniform. Y'all talking about a suit and all. You ought to have like a 00047 on it. You know, just to give them an idea who's going to be sitting there, you know.
47. I love it. I love what you did there.
He gets to wrap it around on him. I hope he does.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. All right, Robert, thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in. All right, I want to go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line, and we're very honored to have David Gelman joining us, who is a Trump legal surrogate, also a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. David, good to have you with us today.
Hey, Todd. Thanks for having me on.
All right. So just a little while ago, the judge, Juan Merchan, just slapped President Trump with a 10th gag order violation. What is this? $10,000 in fines. And I thought it was interesting the wording of his latest threat, David. He says not the president not could possibly go to jail, but would go to jail. Do you think that's really going to happen here? You think we could see the president behind bars?
You know, Todd, that's a great question, and I've been getting asked that all day. And the answer is no. I mean, it's never going to happen. And the reason being is most likely it's because the prosecutors, if you're looking at it, they're not asking for jail. You know, they are only asking for the maximum fine of $1,000 per violation, which obviously is nothing for Donald Trump. So they're not wanting jail. The judge understands that if he tries to put President Trump in jail, number one, good luck, because they have that little thing called Secret Service, and that's going to make everything a lot very difficult for the jail and for the judge to do. But number two, that will literally give President Trump the election. And we all know what is all behind this sham trial, and that is the Biden administration, the Biden campaign. They are pulling the strings in the back with the DOJ, and that is why we are here today. And the judge, he is smart enough, and if you heard him in his statements, he even said front runner and maybe future president. So he is, you know, he's well aware of what's going on. And the reason being is most likely is because, you know, there are people in his ear.
David, again, I'm with you. I think if President Trump is sent to jail, he wins in a landslide. As soon as the door clicks shut, I think the election is over at that point. But again, I'm really concerned about the weaponization of our judicial system in this country. And I worry about people who are not Donald Trump, conservatives out there, and the fact that the justice system has been weaponized against them right now.
You know, Todd, you're exactly right, and you should be concerned. I'm concerned as well as a private citizen. You know, if the Justice Department and the Biden administration doesn't like what you're doing and it's against their narrative and against what they want to accomplish, they're going to get their fangs out and they are going to pursue you any means necessary. Now, look, we don't have the same resources as Donald Trump. Most Americans, in fact, I'd pretty much venture to guess 99.9% of Americans don't have the same resources as Donald Trump. And it is very difficult and very costly to defend yourself when you are, innocent. I mean, Donald Trump has spent millions and millions of dollars on all these different sham trials because of the Biden administration, because of the Biden DOJ. Now, if you are just a regular person, a Joe Schmo on the street, how are you possibly going to afford your defense? You're not. And that's exactly what the DOJ is banking on. They want individuals that if they are doing something against their wishes and they know that they can't afford legal representation because it's, again, going to cost in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, that you are going to either do something or say something that is just going to go against your total beliefs, and you're going to be in a position that you really shouldn't be in the beginning. It's frankly a total disgrace of what's happening. It's illegal, and it really needs to be looked at, very closely. But the problem is nobody is doing anything about it right now, and that's another reason why Donald Trump needs to win the election coming up in November, because this can't be happening. I mean, our founding fathers are probably looking at this saying, this is not what we created. This is not what we signed up for.
David, I'm curious, going back to just how all of this works, and the nuts and bolts of it all. If the president is jailed on a gag order violation charge, how would the Secret Service? What would they do, and how would they be staged in the event the president is put in jail? I know there have been talks about this.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know. I mean, look, just because they say you're going to go to jail, I would have to assume, due to the fact that it is the president or former president of the United States, Donald Trump, with Secret Service, and he's not going to go to Rikers Island and be surrounded by criminals. I would assume if they did that, number one, that's going to be appealed immediately, but they would probably have to work out something where it'd be like a form of a house arrest or something like that, because you can't put the president into a jail for an unconstitutional gag order. I mean, again, this is something that should have never happened. The only reason that this gag order is even in existence is because the judge is a very conflicted judge who shouldn't be the judge here anyway. He should have recused himself because of all the conflicts he has. Specifically, his daughter is profiting off of this trial as we speak. So it's a totally unconstitutional thing. So again, this is going to be appealed immediately. It's already being appealed, but in the event that the judge does say, President Trump, you're going to jail, that's going to be appealed as immediately as well. But again, he can't go to a jail. There's no way. The Secret Service would never allow it. The federal law would never. The federal law enforcement would never allow and dictate to have that happen.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there, David, but we are all in uncharted waters here, and I suspect when it's all said and done, that's what they're going to try to do, and if they do that, it will set off a constitutional crisis. David, appreciate your great insight. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Todd. Take care.
All right. David Gelman, everybody, who is a Trump legal surrogate. Of course, President Trump hit with that 10th gag order violation just a little while ago.